So welcome back guys. In our last class we were able to set up our Google Maps, which is exactly what we see here. Now in this class we're going to go ahead and continue with designing the rest of our main page. So this is what our main page is going to look like at the end of the day. In this particular class our main focus will be to design the search destination panel, so we want to go ahead and design all of this. So one of the beautiful things about Flutter is that making your designs is pretty straightforward, very easy and flexible. So we're going to go ahead and design this panel without wasting a lot of time. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this up and I'm going to add a comma here. So this panel is going to be a container. So I'm going to go ahead and define a container. So I'm going to set the height to 240 and the color is going to be white. So this is our container and it's actually aligned to the top, but this is not where we want our container to be. So from the completed project, we saw that the container was aligned to the bottom part of our app, and that's exactly what we need to do. So because we are making use of a stack layout as our base layout, we're going to have to use a positioned widget to align our container to the downward part of our application. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap our container inside a positioned widget. I'm going to wrap with a widget. Alright. Now the next thing I'm going to do will be to assign the alignment. So the left is going to be 0, and the right will be 0 as well, and the bottom will be 0. Bam! So as you can see, we now have our container aligned to the bottom of our app. Now the next thing we want to do is to add the soft curved edges to the container. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to have to add a box decoration. So because we have a box decoration, I can now go ahead and copy the color and add it inside the box decoration. So this is more like a convention. I'm sure you already know that if you're making use of the decoration, you can no longer have the color inside of the container. Instead, you have to move it inside the box decoration widget. Now the next thing we need to add will be a border radius. So the top left is going to receive a radius of 15 and the top right will receive the radius of 15 as well. Now we can see that our container has a rounded edge at the top left and top right corners. Now the next thing we need to add will be some shadow, to kind of separate the container and the map. So here I'm going to go ahead and add a box shadow. So here I'm going to define a box shadow. The color is going to be black 26, and I'm going to set the blur radius, and the next will be the spread radius for the shadow, and lastly I'm going to go ahead and set the offset, and bam! So you can see we now have a very beautiful shadow here. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this in. So our container is ready. The next thing we need to do will be to add other widgets inside of the container. So we're going to add a child to this container. So the child is going to be a column. Now we can go ahead and add all the necessary widgets inside of our column widget. Now we're going to start with the size box, and the height is going to be 5. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the completed project one more time so that we can take a look at what we have to design. So this is what we need to have at the end of the day. So this is the completed design, which is exactly what we want to make right now. So we're going to have to add some padding, and this is a text widget, another container. This is a row. This is going to be a row widget with some items inside of it, and another row widget with some widgets inside of it, and that will give us this design. So without spending any further time, let's go ahead and implement that. So firstly, we're going to have a text widget that is going to read "Nice to see you." Okay, so we have that. The next thing I'm going to do will be to add another text widget. This time around, this is going to read "Where are you going?" So the font size is 18. Now the next thing I need to do will be to set the font family. I want the "Where are you going to" text to be written in bold. So here I'm going to go ahead and assign font family. So our font family will be brand bold. Alright. So the next thing I'm going to do will be to set the cross-axis alignment for our column. So we're going to set it to start. Now the next thing we need to do is to add some padding to our column. So we are going to make use of a symmetric padding. So the horizontal padding is going to be 24 and the vertical padding is going to be 18. Alright, so this looks a lot better. Now the next thing I'm going to do will be to add another size box. So here I'm going to have a new container and I'm going to have a decoration. Alright, so the color is going to be white. We're going to have some border radius and I'm going to add some boss shadow. The color is going to be colors. The blur radius is going to be 5.0 and the spread radius is going to be 0.5. And the next thing we need to set will be the offset, and the offset is going to be 0.7 and 0.7. Alright, so we have our boss shadow. The next thing we need to do will be to add a child for our container. So the child is going to be a row widget. So inside of the row widget I'm going to have an icon. So I'm going to use the search icon, and the color of the search icon is going to be colors.blue accent. Now the next thing I'm going to do will be to add some size box. Because we are inside the row widget, we are going to add some width inside our size box because we want to add some space horizontally. So let's go ahead and build out so that we'll see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have. We'll have a search bar. The next thing I want to do will be to add a text widget. This text widget is going to read search destination. Now the next thing I'm going to do will be to add some padding around our row widget. So I'm going to increase it to 12. I think this will suffice. And bam, so we have that. Alright guys, as you can see, our design is coming together. The next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and add the home and the work panels, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in the next class. So guys, see you in the next class.